Welcome, everybody, to the latest edition of the Bullpen with Adam the Bull, brought to you by Bet Rivers. And, folks, if you're not using the Bet Rivers app, you're missing out. Also, we got a deal for you. Players who place a qualifying same-game parlay of at least $10 on eligible NFL or NCAA football games will receive one standard entry into the weekly Squares game. Winning standard Squares will be awarded a prize of a $20 bonus bet. See the app and website for more details. Good to have Zac Jackson with me as always. Zac, how you doing today?
I'm all right. We're getting closer and closer to the season being over.
We were just talking about that off the air. It's painful. It's been painful to watch. I think we knew it was going to be painful to watch. It's probably even worse. I don't know. To me, it's even worse than I thought because I personally didn't think, like, the defense is better than I thought it would be. And I picked them to win 5 games in the beginning of the year. And if you would have told me their defense was this good, maybe I would have picked 6.
Sure.
But they're not going to win 6. They're not going to win 5 because even though I knew rationally the offense would be bad, I didn't think it would be quite this bad. Maybe I should have known. I don't know. Is it worse than you thought, or is that not possible?
Yeah, I think the case for it being worse, and it does kind of feel that way as someone who's there a lot.
Yeah.
Is that it doesn't seem like they're building anything.
No.
Right? Like no sane person thought that this was a 10-win team, right?
No.
Or even an 8-win team. But the first 4 rookies are good. And the defense has been good enough to the point that you almost feel sick because you look at the division.
Yeah.
Right. You look at some of the games that they've given away, and some of that is just the league, Bull, right? These games are going to come down to a handful of plays into the last 5 minutes. But yeah, to have seen what they've done in how they pulled the plug on the veteran quarterbacks, how they've put a guy out there who's clearly never going to be an NFL quarterback, and how they've kept him out there, right? How it's not all his fault because the receiving core truly is that bad.
Yeah.
Right. The offensive line is laboring along, and all of those guys are headed for free agency. It's bad. And you have an offensive head coach who, for the second straight year, has given up play calling because the offense is unwatchably bad. It's completely broken. And so it's not just that this was always going to be start of a pivot to a younger generation, right? It's not just that, hey, this team was never going to have the firepower. It's that this team has just played bad football in so many different ways, obviously exemplified by the jumping off sides last week and in the punt returns.
Right.
But like the offensive construction was so bad that it makes it hard to believe that they are building anything, or that anyone involved should really be a part of the next decision. Because frankly, right now, the general manager's resume is Deshaun Watson and Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah.
And Deshaun Watson's cap number is $81 million next year.
Yeah, for those who I think there's a lot of people that think, well, Deshaun's going to be cut at the end of this. No, it's at least one more year.
He is.
Oh, he is going to be cut. But they're going to take that cap hit?
Yes. Well, yeah, there's no other way to do it. Yeah, I mean, the only way, Bull, is to keep him and lower it. So I guess you could, right? But like eventually you have to get this off your books and just the stench of it off you, right?
Okay. So he's going to be cut. There's going to be a huge dead cap hit. And that's that.
Right. Because it's like when you look at their dead money this year, he doesn't count on it even because he's still technically on the roster.
Right.
But it's the deadest money
ever. Yeah. So, and then plus you can have Njoku dead money. Probably some of the offensive linemen will still have money on there.
After this season, they owe him $135 million on the cap. Okay. So you can keep stretching it out 35, 40 at a time. But you just take the 80 and you move along. Because otherwise, then he's still in your building.
Right. Yeah, you're right. That makes total sense. You got to move on. You got to take the hit. And it's not even like, as you say, it feels like there's no plan on offense. There's clearly not a short thing, or there doesn't appear to be a short thing answer at quarterback, which is the only thing that could turn around things quicker. Right, so if you don't get that stud quarterback, well, you got to build the full team. But I think what we've learned is, no matter how good the defense is, if your offense is completely inept, you can't win. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Right, like the blueprint was, okay, this defense is going to be good, and if Joe Flacco throws 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, right, each game, we're at least going to go to the fourth quarter and we're going to be in games. And we know we're going to count on the defense to be the closer.
Right.
To get the hold and the close.
Yeah.
right? And they could not get to that point to where he could throw 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I do not blame the kicker for week 1, but I blame the guys that dropped the passes that
Absolutely.
led to the interceptions.
Yeah.
They did win a game against Green Bay that nobody thought they would win. They did not score for 56 minutes.
Right.
And won the game. Matt LaFleur won them that game. But just the fact that you're not getting in more situations to steal that when that was your whole blueprint to start with says a lot. And again, I'm not a huge look at the numbers and make your argument person. But the offensive numbers for the second straight year are awful.
Yeah.
And the guy who started the last 5 games is last or next to last in every single offensive category that you could ever imagine.
Yeah. And you only have 2 players on the entire offense, Fannin and Judkins, that you have any good feelings about heading into next year. That's it.
Sure.
I mean,
sure.
that's just crazy.
Right. And you're only really committed to Judy for 1 more year, but then it's when you don't have anybody else.
Right. Right. I mean, there's going to be, I guess I would think they'll re-sign at least one of these offensive linemen. But the fact that the offensive line is already bad.
Right.
And you don't have a single offensive lineman on the roster for next year that is any good. I mean, it's just some of the backups.
Like Quinshon Judkins is good, right? And he might be really good. The line is struggling. Obviously, the offense as a whole is struggling. It's hard to see that.
Yeah.
But he's so much better than the other guys at running back too that aren't NFL. There's just such a fall off here, right? Like Jerome Ford was a good player, and he's no longer a good player. Dylan Sampson is too small. He'll never play in the NFL.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
David Njoku is in year 9. Like he's on the downside. He's owed $24 million on next year's cap. Are you going to bring him back?
No.
So
I mean, that's it's just.
And Fannon's great. Fannin and Judkins both. If they were in a real offense, my God, they might be rookie of the year types. So those are guys who you get excited about and say, hey, in 2 years, if we are a competent organization, like these are guys that are going to be making plays.
Right.
Right. So they're at least good. That's a good start.
Yeah.
But what do you really have to hang it on? And even if Judy turned it around, or even if Shedeur Sanders came in and was great, like, do you really think you're close? No, you don't have the numbers of the bodies aren't there. And that's from giving away the picks and going all in on the last couple of years.
Yeah. I mean, when you do that and it doesn't work, then it's a total disaster.
That's right.
The Rams did it. It worked. So it's great. And then they even bounced back again now, and now they're good again without even hitting rock bottom. I mean, they went to mediocrity for a little bit, and now they're back one of the best teams in football again, or at least
throw the ball
now.
down the field. They throw the ball down the field. They found arguably the best receiver in the NFL in the 5th round.
Yeah.
The Browns wouldn't have drafted him because he was 23.
Right.
All the Podesta's guardrails. Right. He's just the best receiver in the NFL.
Yeah.
Or top 5.
Yeah. Then one of the other best is a guy we know well, JSN.
Yeah.
And he's had a massive breakout season for Seattle, and that's another team. Like the Rams and the Seahawks were all in. They won Super Bowls. They went down a little, not where the Browns go down to the basement. They went down to mediocrity, maybe even a little below mediocrity with the Seahawks for a little while. And now they're both back.
Good point, and I'm glad you said it because I want to make this point. Obviously, the Seahawks are great. We don't say them play. They always play while I'm writing after the game.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But the Seahawks and the Niners, Bull, they both actually tried to get ahead. They both cut older players for this year and tried to get ahead of the salary cap.
Yeah.
The Browns could not do that because they were so stuck in these contracts because they accelerated so much money from 23, 24 to be good in 24 and 25. And the 24 team, I say this all the time, last year's Browns team started the season as the most expensive team in NFL history, and it went 3-14. And the 25 team is going to go 3-14 and finish in the bottom 3 in every single offensive category again.
Yeah, I mean, those numbers.
It's embarrassing. It's
beyond
terribly embarrassing.
Yeah.
And there's no case for keeping this front office. There's just none.
No.
It's just time.
I hear some people try to make the excuse like it was all Deep Podesta's fault, so give Andrew Berry a pass. Give me a break. How would you even know that? Even if that were true, how would you know that? I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, there's no good conversation about this team right now. I'm glad we're trying to have one. I appreciate you having me on, Bull, but it all leads to the same spot of like, hey, you got to move on. And the way to move on is to get new voices and new eyes come in and make decisions on the future with no personal ties, right? And it's probably to take as much dead money and as many older players next year and just move on, be even worse, and build up.
Yeah.
It's not guaranteed to work. It's a proven way to work. And when you've played this numbers game so long, that's what you have to do. The way they spend money outrageously is supposed to be an advantage.
Right.
So the way you get back to using that as an advantage is to take next year, be as awful as possible, get as young as possible, and then spend your way back.
Yeah.
Look, the Patriots got a great coach in Mike Vrabel, and he takes the job. He probably doesn't take the job if not for Drake May being there, right? But they had a lot of money pool to make temporary and in some case longer term improvements this year.
Yeah.
And get on that. They had a ton of cap. The Browns are the exact opposite.
Yeah.
And there's no Drake May just hanging around out there.
No.
And no Mike Vrabel just hanging around out there.
No, unfortunately. And if there were a Mike Vrabel hanging around, he probably wouldn't come to the Browns.
There is that is the dumbest argument. You did have him in the building.
Yeah.
Right, but you had just extended your head coach, and there is no way that Mike Vrabel being in that building for 10 months wanted to be in that building anymore.
No chance.
He sees what goes on.
I was joking around earlier this week. We had Mary Kay on UCSS, and I was like, have you guys, I said, as beat reporters, have you considered at the beginning of a Stefanski press conference just walking out because he doesn't answer any questions? How frustrating is it, especially when you see whatever? I mean, not that they're giving you everything, but like Jim Schwartz was pretty honest yesterday. Tommy Reese was pretty honest yesterday. Bubba Ventrone, like, is it piss you off that Stefanski gives you nothing? Or are you just used to it?
You'd almost think Tommy Reese was trying out for one of these college jobs, the way he suddenly is engaged in press conferences.
It was interesting. Yeah.
It is frustrating, Bull. It is. And there are days that I've just said, okay, I'm not even going to ask. So
right.
I know, look, Kevin's got a lot on his plate, and I know he doesn't want to talk about Shador and he doesn't want to talk about Deshaun Watson. But for as long as those guys are on the roster, as long as his current quarterback play is what it is, then it's valid to ask. He is not only the head coach, he's the offensive head coach.
Yeah.
He has been here 6 years. He's been involved in every decision they've made at the most important position in all of sports. And he continues to trot Dylan Gabriel out there to fail every week. So every question he would get is a valid one.
Couldn't agree more. Meanwhile, he hasn't, there's not a single quarterback, and obviously most of the quarterbacks they've had in his 6 years have been bad quarterbacks, but every single one of them has played better somewhere else. The only guy you could have argued played his best here was Brissett, but I think Brissett this year has played better in Arizona than he ever played here.
Yeah, he played decent here.
He did.
Here's the scary part. If you take all the numbers under Kevin Stefanski and lay them on one of these charts that you see, Brissett's the best one. And that's because Baker's spikes were so wild, right? Good Baker and bad Baker were so wildly different. And Jacoby played, 10 games?
Yeah.
11 games, right?
11 games.
Yeah, I think it was 11 game suspension. Yeah. I think in general, across the board, like NFL players are NFL players. And some fit certain schemes, some need to grow up, some have better players around them.
Yeah.
All of those things. I think Kevin at times has been a good coach, and I think Kevin's personality and the way he approaches things are good for this nut organization that goes on. But the offense is clearly no longer groundbreaking.
Yeah.
Right. There are other coaches who have won in tough situations. Yeah. This is a healthy team, Bull. They have one guy who's going to be out this week for a week 11 game.
That's true.
They did the tackle shuffle early in the year, and then DeJuan got hurt, but that was their own fault. They played DeJuan Jones at left tackle, and they benched him. They took him off of left tackle for game 3. Now, he got hurt 2 drives in playing right tackle.
Yeah.
But he was benched. That Cornelius Lucas was their alternative. He's no longer on the active roster. In the last 2 years, they've drafted one offensive lineman, Zach Zinter. He does not dress on game day.
So, I mean, these things sound like impossible to believe.
Right.
But and there's so many of them thrown in together. And I mentioned this yesterday, and it's just so hard to believe. You've got the defensive player of the year probably on your D-line. You've got your defensive rookie of the year at linebacker.
Right.
You've got a top 5 corner. You've got a really good safety. And your defensive tackles are the best they've been. And it's all essentially meaningless because you cannot score. You can't move the ball. I mean, it's like watching a Division III offense play. It's like watching a random D3 offense play against Mount Union.
Yeah.
That's what it's like when they play offense.
It is. And I mean, they got to 20 points last week, and that was an improvement. And like I said, there were things improved. But for every good throw and for the 2 good drives, what followed it? Right?
Terrible throws.
The same stuff. Same stuff.
Yeah,
and I just thought the first play of the game being called back on a penalty kind of summed up the whole state of things, right? And then it was followed by just 2 awful throws. And I think Archuleta, I mean, I don't see the broadcast, but enough people tweeted it. The game analyst said that is maybe the worst start to a game I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yes. He did.
And they settled in. Like, it happens, right?
Yeah.
Like, one of the things Tommy said in his suddenly improved press conference yesterday was like, look, guys, like, here's the way we study it. When it worked, did we do something wrong? Did we just make a bad call, or did the defense just make a great play? And all of those come into account.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why the numbers don't tell the story. That's why elite quarterbacking is not throwing 80-yard bombs on every play. It's keeping your team in it. It's bouncing back after mistakes. It's, sometimes it's feeding the ball into traffic and hoping that it works. And sometimes it's waiting and checking down to the open guy, taking what's there. So, it's just bad. Like, what do you want in an offense? You want imagination. You want explosion, right? You want the simple things to be good. And I think Kevin's designs are still good. I think in certain situations what works, but like the results matter. And in 4th and 1 last week, when the quarterback turns the wrong way and ends up taking a sack, like, that failure goes on everyone.
I was reading the AFC North whip around that you guys do at The Athletic this morning. It came out, and one of the questions was about, like, could the Bengals make the playoffs? And I obviously don't think they can.
Yeah.
A couple people pointed out, not you, but I think Mark, the Ravens and the Steelers guys. I can't think of their names off the top of my head, but anyway, they pointed out, well, Burrow's going to be back. As obviously, Joe Burrow's a lot better than Joe Flacco. But honestly, the last 3 weeks, especially the last 2 weeks when the Bengals have lost, you can't really play much better than Joe Flacco's played the last 2 weeks. I mean, and yet they lost because, as you said in your part of this, no, the Bengals defense is so bad that it can't overcome. You know how bad, like, it's crazy. The Bengals defense is equivalent to the Browns offense. I mean, it's that level of bad.
It truly is. They've scored 38 in 2 straight games and lost.
It's crazy. The Bengals have lost since the start of last year. So you're talking about what? They played 9 games, I think, this year. So that's 27
games.
27 games. They've lost 6 times when they've scored 30 or more. Nobody else has done that more than twice. 6 times. What an indictment of the Bengals. Their front office should be fired, too, although they, have like a one-man front office.
In the Browns' last 14 games, they've been over 17 points twice.
That's just crazy. That's just crazy. But I don't know. The reason, I know the reason I brought that up is because obviously the Bengals have way more talent on offense. That's the obvious thing. But did you think Joe Flacco still had this in him?
I did, to an extent.
Yeah.
I did. I thought in the summer that he, as it went along, like, I thought that he could still really fling it and could do it to a point. And one of the surprising things for me is I really thought over the end of camp that Joe made a concerted effort to get on the same page with Jerry Jeudy, because he looked around and knew that nobody else could do it.
Right. Yeah.
And so that them not being able to connect was baffling. And to me, as it's gone on, just reflects on Jeudy. But one of the things that stands out to me from the first game is obviously Joe played well enough for the Browns to win that game.
Yeah.
But when you went back and watched it, there were a lot of plays early where Harold Fannin was the second, third, fourth choice. And that happens to everybody in these complicated routes, right?
Yeah.
But as the game went on, where Joe Flacco started going?
Yeah.
Harold Fannin. So I thought that day was really revealing, and Fannin's just kind of been taken off ever since. But look, they needed a spark after 4 games, and the season wasn't dead.
Right.
But that's the whole thing. Is like they make this up as they go.
Yes.
And so to bench him is one thing, and to trade him away and then stick with this guy and think that you were going to get any kind of different results is just, it's comical. It's every Sunday it shows. And so what's different this Sunday is that, barring completely unforeseen and different results, the home crowd is going to boo the head coach and boo the quarterback.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm not advocating for that. I'm saying it's a reality. So
100%.
It will be ugly. The optics on that will change. And the only way there'll be more boos is if Deshaun Watson plays.
Yeah, I mean, they go 3 and out on the first drive. There's going to be boos.
I agree. It might not be the second quarter.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's what do you got? What do you got for score in this game? The Ravens are going to cover, probably. I
don't know. I think it could be ugly. I think it could be 16-10. The Browns. You look at any of these charts and stuff for Lamar.
Yeah.
It's green and it's fireworks, except when he plays the Steelers and the Browns.
Yeah. Derrick Henry hasn't done well against the Browns either.
Yeah. And the last game came down to one bad interception and
Yeah.
about 3 Lamar superhero plays. Where the Browns are so good against the Ravens is just the defensive line gets off the ball and gets in the backfield and disrupts the things that they want to do.
Yeah.
And you can watch Lamar, and you know what he spends half this game doing? Looking for 95.
Yeah, no doubt.
Which is understandable.
Every quarterback's doing that.
Yes.
Last thing on a positive note, the upside for Harold Fannin, we've mentioned him a couple of times. Like, if they ever have a legitimate team around him, is he top 5 upside? Is he that good?
I don't know if he's like top 5 upside that good, but he's so unique that you can line him up in so many places and use him in so many different ways that if he was on an offense where they did throw the ball down the field and they did have receivers that needed to be respected, that he would, just have a chance to feast on these 8-yard passes underneath. Right. So, I mean, Bull, this is a guy that 4 years ago was playing high school safety and then played in the MAC.
Yeah.
So he's still learning. He's way better than I thought. But,
I
think whatever his ceiling is certainly the versatility and just the frame and the way he goes and gets these balls before even being refined tells me he's going to be super productive. Is he ever going to be Travis Kelce? I don't know. But, I mean, I think he's got a chance to just be a chain mover and a good player for a long time. Isaiah Likely from the Ravens is basically who he is. He was a small school guy.
Right.
Fannin was drafted way before he was. But, he's headed for his next contract next year, and that's going to be a lot of money. And the Ravens don't want to lose him, but some team is saying we can use this guy. And that's what Harold Fannin is going to be, just a really productive player for a long time.
All right, last thing. The draft were today, and the Browns had the first overall pick. Are you drafting Mendoza?
You have to take a quarterback if you're at number 1.
Yeah.
Right? The complications come somewhere else. So is it him right now? Probably. Ty Simpson's only going to be at under 15 starts, I think.
Yeah.
We'll see. I can tell you that they've done their work. Now, they haven't met these guys personally and done the medicals and sat down with them and gone over what they know. Yeah. And we don't know who's going to be making the pick, which is important here.
Very important.
But 99%, if you have the 1 pick, it's going to be a quarterback. If you end up with pick 4, with pick 6, then everything changes. But if you're at 1-1, you're turning in the card on a quarterback, and it probably is Mendoza right now. Super impressive kid from everything I've gathered. Graduated from Cal in 3 years. He's come over here, looks the part, right? Has thrown bad interceptions in both of their close games and responded. Yeah. That's big. Yeah. That's big. Obviously Curt Cignetti knows how to pick him, and picked this guy. His brother is his backup in Indiana. So they're all on board here.
Yeah.
Went at 17 years old from Miami, Florida to Cal.
Yeah.
Played at a high level, graduated. Like, there's a lot to like there, but we're just getting to that process. And I look forward. I was so excited that they won the game because I didn't want it to be disrupted. I want Indiana and Ohio State in the Big Ten championship.
Yeah. That's going to be a lot of fun. Zach, great stuff as always, man. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Bull.
Always great to talk with Zac Jackson from The Athletic. He does such great work, and he tells it like it is more than anybody else in the biz. He's completely honest and puts it out there how he really feels. All right, thanks, everybody, for joining us today. Thanks to Chris and Max for producing today. Everybody have a great weekend. I'll see you Sunday following Browns-Ravens, probably around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, we'll talk to you next time. You've been listening to The Bullpen with Adam the Bull, brought to you by Bet Rivers. See you, everybody.